For my 15 minutes to quilt today, I'm working on the Shakespeare in the Park quilt. This poor quilt has been waiting for more than a year for me to finish putting the quilt top together. This quilt is missing 2 corners. My hope today is that I can finish off the corners for this Shakespeare in the Park quilt. The project box that it's sitting in is one that stands on top of the shelf and it collects dust a lot. And it's a cardboard box, so I wanted to get rid of the cardboard boxes in my storage space because they attract allergens. Hello, welcome back to Quilt in Color. My name is Shalina. I hope that you get a chance to sew along with me today. Let's get started. The Shakespeare in the Park quilt is made with some simple stars, but it's made more exciting because it's a star in a star pattern, which makes it a lot more interesting to me. And then it's alternated with the snail's trail block. And the snail's trail block looks pretty boring at the beginning. It's kind of hard to know what this can possibly do. But when you combine the snail's trail block and the star block together, look at what it can do. All these beautiful design that makes your quilt so exciting to make. When last we left this quilt, we were working on the corners. There were some corners that were missing, and we're just going to go ahead and add them now. If I remember correctly, the reason that this quilt was a UFO is because I felt like I needed to remake these stars. So there's 2 white ones at the end and 2 dark ones in this corner. And what happened was I think I made the wrong kind. But now that when I went back again to it last December, I decided that it didn't really matter to me what the colors were for the corners because it doesn't affect the design overall. And so I'm just going ahead and sewing them in the way they are. We went ahead and put some of these pieces together. And so now it's just a matter of adding the 2 that are missing onto the quilt. Okay, so let's take a look at where we left off. Looks like this top corner is finished and ready to go. The top left side looks like it's missing a corner piece. The bottom right side looks like it's got a nice corner. And the last corner also looks like it's missing a piece. That means that there's 2 corners done and 2 corners that need to be finished. And here also in the box are 2 corner pieces. So that looks like it's just a matter of combining these 2 corner pieces onto the quilt. And the other thing that's missing here is the top, the corner triangle. And we do have some scrap fabric that we can use to make the corner triangles. In fact, there's already some triangles which might work. It looks like we're going to have to combine some of these in order to finish off the corner. But let's just work on adding these pieced blocks onto the quilt so that we can make some more progress, and then we'll figure out how to get the corner triangles in. The first thing I do is to pin at every intersection to make sure that the design of the pattern works well. And then depending on the size of the block, I like to pin in the middle of each intersection just to make sure that the weight of the quilt doesn't pull too much and so that the seams are matching well. And lastly, I also like to pin wherever there is a seam that's pressed so I can make sure that the seam remembers which way to go, just to make sure that it goes the way it's supposed to go. so I've pinned all of the, I've pinned both of these pieces onto the quilt, and I'm just going to sew this down. I'm going to try to keep the weight of the quilt on the table. Okay, so let's do a reveal. So I've sewn down this one. This one looks problematic to me because in this corner there's a lot of extra left over here in this triangle, which I thought would be okay because some of the triangles are made bigger, but this one is really close. It's almost not close enough. And so let's open it up and see what the deal is. In here you can see this part looks okay. And here you can see that this center is not lining up with the center of the stars. I think it should go here and not close to this one. It should come to here. And this other seam here, this one is matching up to a star point instead of to the corner of the block. And so I'm going to have to rip out this seam and start again with that one. It shouldn't be too much though to do. I had a warning when I was pinning in that it looked like I wasn't quite lining up, but it kind of looked like maybe it would work, and apparently it's not right. So I should have checked it, but I didn't. And so now I'm just going to take this apart and move this tip here to the tip of the snail's trail box to the edge of this, to the intersection of these two stars blocks. Okay, so let's look at the other corner. Okay, so this one looks a little bit better in that there is an intersection here. There's a nice amount of overlap here, but not too much. And then on the other side, there's a little bit less overlap, but I think that's going to be enough. And this is why I didn't worry too much about the other one, because I figured it'd be about this much of an overlap, and that's how much we had. But apparently I didn't do it right on the other side. Let's open this up to see how it works out. Okay, so this intersection is nice. So this triangle is properly intersected here on both of the blocks. The center of these two stars matches up very well. The center of these two stars matches up really well with the snail's trail block. I probably could go in a little bit more, but I'm not really worried about that section there. And then on this side, the intersection of the triangle to the two blocks also works pretty well. It's not perfect, but it's close enough, I think, for me. I'll leave this section the way it is, and then I'll work on the other side again. And then last but not least, we've got to worry about the triangles that finish off this quilt. And when we look at the completed triangles, it looks like there's two triangles joined together. So I'll look for this size triangle to see if we have any. And if we don't, I can cut up some from the leftover fabric. In going through the box, I found that there were some triangles that were too small for this quilt. And there are some triangles that are big enough to add to the corner. And there's a whole bunch of them that may or may not make it. I'll have to measure to make sure that they're the right size. There is one set that looks like it's already sewn together. So this can be one of our corner triangles, and it's weird because you would think that there would be another one, but I'll look again to make sure that I didn't miss any in my jumble. At the beginning of this 15 minutes to quilt session, I was worried about what I would do if it took me less than 15 minutes to put this quilt together. But nope, I didn't have to worry about that. So I've gone ahead and removed the seam, and I did that off camera so I could sit comfortably while I was doing it. And it was pretty stress-free. It didn't take any time at all while I was watching a show. And so now the next time I work on this quilt, I just need to finish this seam and add the corner triangles, and then I'll have all four corners for this quilt. This video is one of a series of videos where I invite you to my sewing space and just spend some time quilting along with me. And I hope that you got a chance to sew along with me. And if you did, please just let me know in the comments what you worked on today. I thought I was going to be able to finish the corners today, but it looks like it's going to take another session. It's going to take at least another session for me to be able to finish the corners on this quilt. I had a song all ready to sing to you when I was able to finish this quilt. My quilt, it has 4 corners has my quilt. And had it not 4 corners, it would not be my quilt. Maybe next time you'll learn that song. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you in the next video.